Hey peeps, welcome to the second episode of the Confessions of a Diet Queen podcast. I have pressed echo cancellation, so hopefully the audio on this one is okay. But I'm really excited to have one of my oldest besties today, Carol, join us on the podcast. We're going to be talking all about yoga, babies, lockdowns, life, and some of the antics we used to get up to back in the day. So with no further ado, hello, Kaza.
Oh my god, that intro. Some of the antics back in the day.
Oh, I know, I make us sound old, doesn't it?
Oh god.
We'll save those till later, I think.
Yeah,
we won't
definitely.
give all our secrets away to start. So, can you give us a little introduction about who you are and what you do?
Yes, I'm Carol. I'm one of Leanne's oldest mates from school. I am a former NHS nurse. I was a nurse for about a decade, and then I went on to do yoga teacher training before going on and getting married and having kids. So now I am a prenatal and postnatal yoga teacher. I also teach Vinyasa yoga, and possibly at some point we'll be heading back to nursing. But that's me at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, we will be getting into this. Yeah. I was not aware of that decision.
I know.
Okay, yeah. Where to start? So I think maybe I had a lot of yoga related questions actually. So maybe,
did you? Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I did. Yeah. So maybe we'll start there. So nurse to yoga instructor, talk us through it.
Well, I worked in Manchester, so I worked for most of my nursing career in Manchester. I moved up there after I qualified, and it was really, really fun. And then until it wasn't, and then actually some of the cases were starting to get heavier, and I was looking for something to do outside of work that would, other than boozing and all the other stuff that we all do, right?
Yeah.
So I got a bit sick of that, and I was looking for something else to do, and I literally just stumbled across yoga. One of my friends invited me to a hot yoga class, and I went along, and I was there in like a proper like t-shirt, and like I felt so self-conscious and all the rest of it, and everyone else there was practically naked, and I was like, oh my god, and I was boiling, absolutely boiling, but I left and I was like, oh my god. And then from that moment, basically every bit of spare cash I had outside of working, I would go and do hot yoga. And then work got sort of more and more stressful, and I was more and more drawn to yoga. And then in the end, I kind of just said, you know what, I've had enough. And I sort of up sticks. And it was a massive deal, actually. I didn't plan on it. And I up sticks and moved back to Devon.
Well, hey.
Yeah.
KB massive.
Back to Devon, I know. And I back in with my parents. Like, I honestly thought my life was over. Like, I was like, that's it. I'm going to be single forever. I was single. I'm going to be single forever. Everything. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, swear away.
Like booked my training in India, booked my flight, booked the course, booked everything. And then, moved back. And then within a week, bumped into the guy who I'm now married to.
Well, hey.
Back in Devon. And then obviously went on to go and do my teacher training. I carried on working as a nurse for a bit, but then James, who's my husband, sort of gave me the push to say, do you know what, if you're not happy, don't do it.
I love
crack on with yoga. And I did, and it's the best decision I ever made.
I feel like I'm saying "we're hey" a lot, and I think it's just because it's what we do. Like, "we," that's what we used to say all the time.
Back in the day.
Walking through school like, "we."
I always remember you. One of my biggest memories of you was you coming into school on your birthday. And you came out in the corridor and went exactly that. Hey! And I was like, what?
I was like,
it's my birthday. And we've been talking about it for so long, and I just what?
What a shit best mate.
Yeah, and no wonder you moved on to Kim or.
Bless her. She doesn't remember either, but it's all right. I've got a calendar for everyone's kids. Don't worry. Anyway, we're digressing. I knew we would. So let's talk about India, because is it standard procedure to move to India to get your yoga teacher qualification?
No, but people do it in the UK, people do it all over. But India is obviously the source of yoga. So for me, it was like a no-brainer to go somewhere where it's like authentic. And it was so authentic. The teachers, everything. It was like a full immersive experience. And I think it's fine if you want to do it in the UK, especially now. If I wanted to do it now, I'd have to do it here because I've got children, right? But when I did it then, I didn't have any responsibilities, and it was just like, I think if you want a true full experience and to come away from it feeling like inspired and like, yeah, this is what I want to do, you need to do something like that, because you're there for a month with really crap Wi-Fi. You're eating, breathing, like everything is just yoga. And for me, it was like I came back from that like a new person. You know what I mean? I can't say that it lasted forever, because within about 2 months I was probably getting annoyed again about the same the same stuff that I was getting annoyed about before I left. But you got the tools to deal with it. But like, I think that personally, that would be my way to do it always. I think if you do it over a long period of time, where you're sort of doing it once every month, a bit of your training here, there, and everywhere, you lose that like that, I don't know how to describe it.
Like the authentic.
When you're just in the zone. Yeah, and in the zone, and like, it's coming right from the source. Like, my philosophy teacher was just the most, like, this amazing Indian man who was just so, you could just sit there and be like, just listen to him, just talk and talk and talk. And everything he said was just so, he just was so wise. And I think I would struggle to find that here.
Yeah.
And also, there's something not very authentic about just going to like a city studio as opposed to doing yoga on like a treetop shala, which is what we were doing. Yeah, and like meditating to the sunrise and like doing yoga to the sunset, and like the whole thing was just, to be honest, I wish I could go back. I'm thinking about it now, like, oh my god,
James, can I have a week off?
Yeah, but it was hard. Like, it was we did so it was Ashtanga Vinyasa. So we did a 2-hour Ashtanga class every morning. Ashtanga is so strong. An hour Vinyasa, and then we do like posture clinic, and then we would do an hour meditation, and then we did an hour of teaching ourselves. So it was literally probably between 4 and 5 hours of actual movement every single day, Monday to Saturday. So I came back ripped. I was just so strong. Like, I was all body weighted, but like, so strong, and like, just felt, when you're strong and movement feels as light as a feather.
Yeah.
And I think that's the joy of yoga, is like, don't get me wrong, lifting weights and everything, I was saying that to you, how amazing it is. But when it's just body weighted, I feel like there's something about it. You end up feeling so light in yourself, don't you?
I also
light
think
in the mind, light in the body.
I also think it's that combination of body weighted strength combined with flexibility and mobility. Now, I love lifting weights. I've done body pump for 10 plus years now. I do strength training in the gym and stuff, but I'm not mobile because I don't do those strength flows. I'm not moving my body, in ranges of motion that are opening up and making my joints more flexible. Whereas I think when I was doing yoga in lockdown in particular, like, I was so flexible, man. I was like, yeah, I can nearly do the splits. This is amazing.
Yeah, and it helps, right? Like, as a sport, although it's not a sport, but as something alone, great. But something alongside what you do anyway, amazing. It's only gonna benefit.
Yeah.
No, obviously I teach it, but yeah, I think it's lush.
It sounds like it's almost like a religion type of, like, not in, well, maybe because it has like a belief system, and it's combining the mind and the body and everything. Would you say that it's a little bit like that?
No, because one of the things they say, actually, one of the things in our training was that there isn't really any religion attached to it. It's more just like a sort of way of, like a way of life, in terms of, there are so many things that you can follow in yoga that unfortunately in, modern society you can't really. You can't sit for 8 hours a day meditating, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to have a job, right, or do anything. But just basically just being a bit of a nicer person, having less, being less judgmental. I mean, ideally being vegetarian, or, even better, vegan, just along the whole thought process of, not harming anybody or, anything really, anybody or anything, which, I'm a vegetarian. I'm not a vegan. I'd love to be a vegan, but I really like cheese, but I really need to, just get on with it. But yeah. But I think, ultimately it does teach you just that the only way I could describe it is to be just a bit of a better person, basically, and just stop being, judgmental and, rude. And do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I think that the activity of yoga enforces that, because it forces you to calm down and it focus on your breath, and just forget about all the other stuff, and don't let it, don't waste your breath on all this other stuff when you can focus on your own breath and withdraw and feel amazing,
Love that. So can you explain to me and everyone else, because I am not 100% clued up, the difference between the different styles of yoga? You mentioned Ashtanga and Vinyasa, and there's a few others, isn't there? So what is the difference?
So they're all, like different kind of, how would you describe it? So Vinyasa, for example, is like breath. Vinyasa is translated as breath-led movement. So Vinyasa is like a flowy style of yoga. It tends to be pretty like up tempo. Whereas Ashtanga, and also it's quite creative as well, Vinyasa. So you can come up with, which is why I prefer to teach that, because you can come up with your own thing. There's no set poses. Ashtanga yoga is set poses. So basically you do the same thing every single time. But the idea behind that is that because it's the same thing, you become so strong in those poses, you improve all the time. And it's kind of like, that is like a regime really. And people love it because they don't need to even think about it, right? You can just do that thing. Then there are other styles like yin yoga. Yin yoga's about holding postures for like 3 to 5 minutes. And that just helps again with like recovery. Sitting in deeper postures helps, again, focus your mind as you're sort of really, really focusing on your breath in those postures. The thing is, there's something different about every single one, basically. And I think that when you come to yoga, a lot of people just think yoga, right? Yoga. But actually, if you look at it, you may find one that suits you more than others. You know what I mean? I mean, there are so many ideas about so many different kinds of yoga. But I think that it's worth trying a few different ones before you decide if it's for you or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I used to teach at Winners, for example, that was a Vinyasa class. And Vinyasa tends to be the one that sort of suits most people because it's sort of a workout, but it's not, but it's also creative. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think I've always been the sort of person who, when it comes to working out, I've liked to be that person who, is like crawling out, wants to feel like they've left everything there. And things like yoga and Pilates and stuff like that, I've always been like, oh no, it's not like a workout. And then when I started your Vinyasa class, I loved it because it was like constant, felt like flowing movement all the time. It was still challenging me in poses because I was so tight and unmobile, but it was like, yeah, that constant movement felt like a workout.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, but again, that's kind of like, again, it's sort of like a modern take on it. Like people think, but then that's not anyone's fault. People are short on time. Like people want to make the most out of their sessions. And I get that. I mean, again, I said to you yesterday, I get half an hour in the gym 3 times a week. I really want to try and maximize whatever I can in those sessions. And I don't blame people, but if you can make it part of your sort of, weekly routine or however you do it, the benefits, and people do only yoga and can have if this is what you're bothered about, not you, but one can have the most toned, tight, whatever body, and it burns up so much, so many calories, the constant movement, holding the postures, you soon get hot, you soon get out of breath. Like it's not what people think it is, just sitting around. Although that is another type, which is also nice if that's what you want to do.
Yeah. I'd rather do that watching Netflix though, to be fair. Yeah. Let's talk about the meditation part of yoga, because I'll be really honest, that's the bit I don't do. So like I love doing your little YouTube yoga videos, because it's like 35 minutes. It's perfect. It's a really good stretch, wind down workout that's not too hardcore for me. But then when it comes to right, we're going to lay down now and breathe, I'm like, nah. It's probably the bit I need the most. But can you explain a little bit about why you do it and why it's important?
So yoga is, the whole point in yoga is basically to train the mind for meditation. So that's the whole yoga. Without meditation, it's not really yoga. And again, like, you can, whatever reason you come to yoga is a good reason. So it doesn't matter whether or not you do the meditation part. If you enjoy just the stretches and all the rest of it, that's fine. But I think that if you can learn to control and like withdraw the senses and control your breath and just sort of sit with your non-thoughts, then you've really mastered something. And I think that it's in those moments that people tend to actually see improvements in their mental health and mood. And because you could do all the yoga postures, and you could be thinking about what you're having for tea tonight, and you could be doing this, you could do that, and it is just a workout and that's it. But if you want something a bit deeper, I urge you to try. Okay. Because but genuinely, that is the biggest challenge of yoga, like for all of us, for me too. I'm the same. Like, I teach yoga and then I'm like, boom, camera off, right, let's what we have, what we having for tea. Like, it's not it again, it's just fitting it into your day. It's hard, but when you make that time for it, which I do, you feel so good for it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, you block out everything else that's going on. You get that like mental freedom. And I think it's really, really important, if you can do it, to just try.
In the beginning, was it hard for you to switch your brain off? Because I can imagine, I train a few nurses, a few A&E nurses as well. And like, those guys are go, 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 go. I have to like force the rest in between sets. I'm like, guys, chill. Because I think like the environment of being in a hospital and stuff can be very much like, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. Was it hard for you to do the meditation and the yoga and to switch that off?
I think for me, no, because I was so desperate for something else. Like, I had kind of removed myself from that world. And I knew I didn't want to do it. I just didn't know how to not do it, if you know what I mean. So for me, it wasn't that hard. Like, I looked forward to it. And it was kind of like, for me, it was like a challenge more than it was to keep going. It was sort of like, right, I'm going to see, how long I can do today. And yeah, I think for me, again, like, I kind of knew I wanted to teach it because that was something that I really wanted to do as well, but I think that, I mean, if had I not taught it, I probably would have struggled. I mean, in India, when we used to do meditation, we'd fall asleep sometimes. You'd be sitting there and you'd literally be like, right, I've got this. And the next minute, dunk, and you'd be asleep. So it's not like, it's like, none of us are pros, and it's a constant like challenge, and we're all told to do it all the time. But if you can do it, it's amazing.
I think because especially in this kind of like generation, and everything's so quick and go, and we're rushing from here to there, and work and kids and husbands and food shops and all of this, I think it is good that people want to implement or should implement something like yoga, even if it is once a week, just to try and just get that rest and recovery and just really, really relax, really.
I think that people, like, I do it again. I think that we all look for things to make ourselves feel better, whether that's shopping, whether it's boozing, partying, all of those things I find I do when I'm trying to distract myself from how I'm feeling, right? So exactly. Right. So the times that I've overspent and bought a ridiculous amount of things in my wardrobe that, 3 months later, I'm like, I don't even want any of this. It's normally those times where I should have been doing something like yoga. And I'm a teacher, but like, I should have been focusing more on that, because I feel like doing those things are just distractions, to take yourself away from whatever's going on in your life. And not only is it better for you, it's also cheaper to just do a bit of yoga.
It's cheaper than £100 on Shein on gym leggings you don't need.
Oh my God, Shein! I love the fact that you go to Shein for your jean leggings. For your gym leggings.
I will never go anywhere else. I've got them on now. Gymshark's £50. These are the same. These are the same
Really?
for $12.99.
Really?
Yeah,
I
and
think I missed
I'm not
out.
on commission here. Not yet, anyway.
Do you know, I bought some Gymshark leggings. I bought them when I started teaching yoga again after having Johan, and then up to Christmas, I couldn't be bothered, so I just started eating loads. And then before I know it, I've been wearing my Gymshark leggings every single day, pretty much 3 pairs non-stop for the whole of the run up to Christmas. And now they're all bobbly and like because I've washed them so many times.
Once you go to activewear, you will never put on a pair of jeans again. Ugh.
I've got a pair on today though. I've
What,
got a pair on today.
you're at home in jeans?
Yeah, this is the thing though, Leanne. You've got to remember we are on LWL now, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself.
Well, hey.
Yeah, like New Year, dropping a few pounds and just feeling a bit better back in the jeans on a Saturday.
Well, I can have a 6-pack. You ain't seeing me in jeans, mate. Okay, let's talk about the transition from being yoga queen to mama bear. How was that for you? Did you do yoga all through your pregnancy?
No, and this is the thing. I think the biggest shock for me was people assumed. So, okay, I am somebody that is such an emotional eater, right? So, again, I've talked to you about this before. Every single month, I have about 2 weeks or a week where I'm just like, rah, and I just need to eat everything, absolutely everything, and nothing stops. It's like an insatiable hunger. Now, imagine that for 9 months. Yeah, 9 months.
Oh,
So yeah, exactly. So the biggest shock for me was how different I thought how different pregnancy was to how I thought it was going to be. And also people expected me to be thin with a bump. So I remember I had a couple of comments from people, I won't even bother saying, but basically it was just like sort of alluding to the fact that, oh my God, oh, wow, you've got so much weight. And like, for me, I think I can't sit here and relate and say, oh yeah, I totally know what it's like to be, bigger in school and all the rest of it, because I was really lucky and fortunate that I spent most, all the way up to being pregnant, basically being slim, right? So, and that's not me being smug or anything else. That is just the reality. I was really fortunate. So for me to then not be that was like the biggest shock in the world. And I think to suddenly see people look at you in a different way was hard. And I think that and my pregnancy wasn't easy. I had my first baby in Sweden. I didn't practice yoga very much in my pregnancy at all. The first time I started doing it again actually was after I had him, and I went to mum and baby yoga, and it was lush, and that was sort of like, okay, fine, yeah, now I understand. I remember why. I did a bit of prenatal yoga, but I didn't know. I'm not like, I've seen some people go through pregnancy, sail through it, do all the yoga, feel amazing. For me, I was almost so like hormonal, and I was so worried all the time about something going wrong that I just didn't want to do any form of like proper movement.
yeah.
I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to just sit and just sort of wait, for this baby to come. Yeah, so it definitely wasn't what I thought it would. It wasn't what I thought it would be, and it wasn't the way I thought I would be either. I was really like, it's going to be so great, No, it wasn't like that at all, unfortunately.
How was that for your mental health?
Oh, God.
Duh.
It wasn't great. No, it wasn't great. Like, it was hard. It was really, really hard. I struggled. I really struggled with my first pregnancy. I won't lie. And, anyone that knows me knows that I struggled with my first pregnancy. Like that for me was probably one of the hardest times of my life, I think, mentally, purely because of the hormones. I just found the hormones completely unbearable. Like they were just crazy. And, I'm a bit susceptible to hormones anyway. So no, I didn't, mental health wise, not good, physically not good. And it wasn't until I had my second baby that I was sort of like, right, okay, I'm not going to go down that same route again. I can kind of, understand the triggers and Not to say that I didn't eat like everything, because we were in lockdown. So there was nothing else to do. But mentally, I definitely didn't find it as hard. No.
I feel like I want to touch on people saying things, because like I've had a conversation with 2 people this weekend, about people saying things about their weight, and this is not necessarily to do with pregnancy or anything, but I've heard one girl saying that her family have told her she's too thin because she's recently lost weight, but she looks so toned, she's so strong, she's really healthy. And I've had another client, who is in absolute despair about the way she looks post baby because she sees other mums who have a baby the same age as hers who look thinner than her and stuff. And I just think it's so hard, isn't it? I feel like it's so hard for females, especially with babies involved and the pressure. Like, did you feel the pressure after you had your babies?
Yeah, and also when I was pregnant, I got so many comments. Like to the point where I ended up just starting to be a little bit not rude to people, but I used to just not even get. I got to the point where I didn't even do like the polite laugh. I would just basically just glare at people or just ignore them, because I think when you get pregnant, suddenly your body is not your own, and people can just feel like they could just say whatever they want, and they might think they're being nice. But when you're told, "Oh my God, you're massive," or "Is it twins?" for like the 5th time that day, it really starts to hurt your feelings. And also, what people don't realize is that when you are pregnant, you are worried all the time. And if someone tells you, "Oh, you're really small," or "Oh, you're really big," you genuinely worry that there's a problem with your baby, because if you're small, the baby could not be growing. If you're big, the baby, you could have like gestational diabetes. There's always something to worry about. And I think that the biggest lesson for me as well, because I'm sure I've said things to people, way back in the day when they've been pregnant that I haven't even thought about. And it wasn't until I got pregnant that I realized, how it's just not okay to comment on people's bodies, pregnant or otherwise. Just don't. People think as well, we're all guilty of it. Someone loses weight, you're like, "Wow, you look amazing. Oh my God, wow." But actually they could have just had like the worst time in their life, or, they could be really, really suffering to get themselves to that weight, and that could be like reinforcing that even more, right? Because they're so thin and they're like, "Oh my God, okay, I've got to crack on and keep going."
100%.
I think, yeah. And I think that, but specifically for pregnancy and after pregnancy, I don't really have too many comments. Most people have actually been all right. I think I had somebody I spoke to in the supermarket do the old look up and down like quite soon after having Johan. Yeah, but I don't know. Again, I think that people. It sounds awful. Maybe I'm just wrong, but I just feel as though people sort of didn't expect that of me. I gained a lot of weight in both pregnancies. I gained a lot of weight, more than is what is like okay. You know what I mean? Like I ate a lot, and I don't really regret it, other than the fact that I felt rubbish for a long time trying to lose the weight. And it's it's uncomfortable, isn't it, when you've got more weight on you, way more weight on you than you should. But afterwards, no. But I know people that have had comments, and people that get the pressure, and 6 weeks bounce back. I think the biggest lie is about your belly, your bump going back. I had a proper bump for ages. In fact, to be honest, sometimes now when I relax, it's still there. You always get someone that just springs back, but most of the time it doesn't. So,
and I think it's really important that women are aware of that. This whole bounce back fucking thing does my head in, because there's no bouncing back. You've got a newborn baby. Like, I can't relate. I don't have a baby, but Jesus, can we take the pressure off a little bit? Like, enjoy your child. Do what you've got to do to get through the sleepless nights. Don't feel like you've got to be in the gym straight away as soon as you've left the hospital. Like, just everyone also just needs to stay in their lane when it comes to what they're saying about other people. I know people often aren't coming from a bad place. In fact, it's just the way we are sometimes, isn't it? To say, "Oh, look at your bump," or whatever. But I get it sometimes, obviously I'm someone who struggled with my weight. I struggle with food. I'm quite open and honest about it. So the last thing I need is to go to a restaurant with my friends or with people, and to then have people comment on my choice off the menu, or for someone to say, "Oh, you
can
do
that." Do people do that?
Yes, Kaz, yes.
Really?
Yeah, or like, and I know they don't mean it from a bad place, but like, I can go to someone's house and there'll be a buffet and someone will say, "Oh, we got the salad for you," or something like that. And I'm like, all right, guys, like, that most of the time it's like water off a duck's back, because it's just part of, it's just what it is. But other times I'm like, really, do we have to make this about the food? Or like, if I do make a choice, like a chocolate bar or something, like people will say something to me about it and say, oh, you know, how many body pumps you're gonna have to do to burn that off, or don't let your girls see you eating that, or do you know what I mean? And I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck off, all of you, like leave
Yeah.
me alone. I know they don't
But I
mean it,
think
but
that no, but I mean the thing is as well as for you. I mean, amazingly, you've got a a really decent following, and I think that that's also like the territory of having. I mean, I don't really have. I've got a very compared to you and everyone else, of like a very like modest following, and a lot of it is freaks from I don't even know where. But I mean, I think that I think once you are sort of there, you're putting yourself out there as well. There's pressure to behave and say, the right thing, which is mental, really. Because
it is
I mean, I don't know about you, but do you ever sometimes think, I just want to delete I'm
all the
sharing too much? Yeah,
all the
I
time.
get that. I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, again, I haven't even got your following, but I often feel like, do you know what? I don't think I want to tell anybody about my life anymore. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Or like sometimes like social media is the best and worst thing in my life, I think sometimes, because obviously it's helped me build such an amazing business. It has introduced me to so many amazing people. I've learned a lot off it, but it's also sometimes I just want to delete it because I think if you're someone who is triggered by certain things, body image or whatever your thing is that you're triggered by, that is always what's all over your newsfeed. Like you can constantly compare yourself to who's got more followers in your industry, or who looks like they're doing the best with their diet, or who looks the strongest in the gym. And sometimes you can forget this is the highlight reel of someone's life. Like this isn't true. You're not seeing all the bad shit that everyone goes through. You're seeing the filtered, edited best bits of someone's life. And sometimes I sit there and think, I just don't want to see this anymore. I just need to delete it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Do you know what I do? I don't follow any. I don't really follow any yoga accounts. Everything I follow is like baking and like and mum stuff. But I mean, that I suppose has a bit of guilt sometimes. But I used to follow a lot of yoga accounts, and I used to get that real like imposter syndrome all the time. I was like, "What am I doing? Look at them, look at me," and then I just deleted them all actually. I've actually felt. At the time I felt a lot better. But now I know sometimes I just think, oh, do you know? It's funny, isn't it? I feel like we're going the other way now. Like we always still just share everything, and now it's kind of like I just want to go off the grid.
Yeah,
Just go.
I know what you
But
mean.
then the trouble is, how could you run a business without it? This is the thing. They've snookered us.
Yeah, you couldn't. There's no way. There's no way.
Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry.
Baby.
Yeah, it's all right. James has got him.
Oh, bless him. Let's talk about your little babes.
John, shall I bring him in?
Yeah, bring him
Can you pause it for a minute? Can you pause
in.
this for a minute? Or
Yeah.
yeah, pause it for a sec.
Here he is. Look at him. Oh.
Just up from a nap. A little bit grumpy.
Oh. So, how is it juggling two little boys? Oh, look at him.
Oh no, he's tired. Oh, bless him. It is really hard, and I think the thing is, I knew it was going to be hard, but I think the reality of it, I don't even know how to describe it. Because he's nearly one, right? And the last year, I feel like I've gone, batshit crazy. 1 minute, it's like a whole roller coaster, isn't it? You go through really, really lovely times, and then you go through really, really hard times, and we had them 22 months apart, so 2 under 2 for the first 2 months, which is good, and it will be good when they get bigger. But at the beginning, it's hard, and I think that no time is your own time anymore. So no one really gets a break, because one of you's always got a child. She wants to go back to sleep.
Oh.
Go back to sleep. Hang on, just pause it for 1 minute.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm going to pause so that we can get him back to a little nap, little cutie. Okay, we are back. We are back. So, Johan's nearly 1.
Yeah.
And how old is Rafe now?
Rafe is 3 in May.
Oh.
I know.
Just so you know, guys, Kaz has got the most beautiful 2 blonde, blue-eyed little boys. They are so lush. Oh, they're so cute.
The blue eyes are definitely thanks to my husband, because mine are brown and really boring. Their eyes are just
But
They're
the
like the
white
sea.
blonde locks, that's you.
No, James too. James was like born. James looked like a Mr. Whippy when he was born. His hair was so, his hair was so white. But yeah, no, I think there was no chance that these two, our kids, could be anything other than very, very fair, right?
Yeah,
So yeah.
very true. So let's talk about kids and lockdown.
Oh God, yeah.
How was that for you?
Can you hear Johan?
No.
Okay, good. Um, so we bought a house just before lockdown, a new build that was being built, and it was meant to be ready the summer of the first of 2020, right? So we were living in a one-bedroom flat, which we had basically borrowed off my husband's mum. Rafe was 10 months old when the lockdown began. So we thought, okay, not too much longer. And obviously, then it's all gone on so much longer than everyone thought. And the house then took a year, pretty much. So I spent the first lockdown, and this is the lockdown that everybody took ridiculously, not ridiculously seriously. We had to take it seriously, right? Of course we did. There was no vaccine, okay? So of course, there was no rule breaking at all. However, oh my God, to go from a baby who was just learning to crawl to a furious toddler, who was bouncing off the walls, desperately needing to socialize, but also too young to do lots of like crafty things, didn't really engage with the screen. So, all the stuff, the crap that was going on online, you can do this, you can do that, which is all really great if you have a child that engages with somebody talking to them on a screen. I remember once joining some sort of singing song, whatever it was. Anyway, I joined up and had to literally leave in about 30 seconds because Rafe was just like hit the screen, wasn't interested, just walked off. So yeah, I felt like of all the times in my life to go into lockdown, that was one of the worst times because it was impossible to entertain. We were in a third floor, one bedroom flat with no garden.
Oh,
What do you do?
yeah.
And that
It
was
was a heat
again
wave as well.
there was a heat wave. You were allowed out once a day or whatever it was, and I mean, in hindsight, there are so many things I would have done differently. But then you can only do your best in the situation you have, right? Like I probably would have broken the rules and gone out twice a day, if not 3 times a day, because let's face it, you don't see anyone around those parts anyway. It's so quiet.
And
I
given current news, I think you
oh,
would have broken the news, broken the rules.
do you know what? I was literally saying to James earlier. I feel I've almost apologized to members of my family that I've been like arsey about, when it's come to like, the rule of six being broken or whatever. I've apologized to them and just said, you know what, I'm really sorry because what a waste of our time when they're doing that. You know what I mean? What a waste. I mean, I know we had to do it because we were responsible people, but it just beggars belief, that I was doing all that
Yeah.
and they were doing that. I mean, people have got horrific stories, haven't they?
Yeah.
People who couldn't even see their other halves or their children dying, and funerals. And thank God I don't have a story like that to tell. But when you hear those stories, people on the news saying those stories, like you feel sick. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? The reality of the whole thing. Anyway, sorry, I'm going off again. Yeah, so I found it really, really hard, but obviously not as hard as a lot of people because I had food, and it's not like I had to worry about a job because thankfully James's job was work from home anyway. But yeah, no, it was just really, really hard. And because of lockdown and it for it being so long, right, my first son, he definitely did struggle emotionally and socially afterwards. He definitely did, yeah. And I don't think he's the only one. I've had a lot of people say the same things about their children who are the same age,
Yeah.
who don't really, either shy or the opposite. They don't really know how to behave around, big groups, and you know what I mean.
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't even think it's just kids. Now, I feel like little ones especially, they have the raw deal because that's part their social life, nursery, clubs, whatever. That is part of how they learn to socialize, isn't it? But even myself, going from seeing hundreds of people through the week in classes and PT and in the gym to seeing no one. Like, I was so lonely in lockdown because my husband was still working. He was considered a key worker at the supermarket. I was here on my own, socializing through a screen, through live workouts and stuff. Like, I remember going back to the gym and being so socially awkward and nervous
Yeah,
and thinking, I don't remember how to do this. I don't remember
yeah,
how to have a conversation with another human being for a whole hour of their PT. I remember, like, I was really anxious about it. So I think, like, and same as you, I know a lot of parents who had lockdown babies and little ones during lockdown who are now saying, like, my kids have struggled.
yeah. I mean, it's mad to think as well. Rafe was 10 months. We had Rafe's first birthday in the first lockdown, and I gave birth to Johan in the last lockdown. How ridiculous is that?
Yeah.
And that both my pregnancies were over that awful bloody time. But I know. I mean, I remember feeling anxious going to the supermarket.
Yeah, I know. It's
Oh God,
crazy.
it's almost like cringy, isn't it? You know what I mean? It kind of cringe. Oh
It's not
God.
cringe. I think it's completely understandable given the, the unknown of what COVID was and
Of
how
course, and
we
the
didn't,
amount of poor
yeah,
people that died, and
yeah,
you have to. If I would do it all again if it meant saving, loads of lives. But I just think that it was so none of us had ever. We didn't know what to do, right? I mean, yoga on Zoom. I was like, "Are you mad?" And it's only just now that I'm like, "Oh, actually, I'm quite enjoying teaching yoga on Zoom because
yeah,
it's really easy for me." But yeah, like all these things that you would never ever do before.
yeah.
Exercise online,
Oh my
please.
God. I remember my carpet is ruined from doing like combat and pump and
Mountain
Zumba.
climbers.
Oh, and I remember like setting the camera up in the window. I remember like I couldn't get something to work. I'm crying in the middle of a Zumba class that I'm recording. Like, oh, what a nightmare it was. Now I'm like got the whole shebang set up here. It's like Leanne's studio in the kitchen.
I still can't quite. Zoom is all right actually. I think my it's the pre-recorded stuff that I just can't crack. I need to just invest in a good camera, basically, a good camera and a ring light.
Yeah, ring light will save your life, mate. It will.
I know, I know, I know, I
Let's
know.
talk about now dieting with children because
Yeah,
something that has always stuck with me, and I think I have to thank you for this comment because it did kind of make me a bit of a better trainer because it made me think. I remember you saying to me, and I think it's when you first came into the Lean with Leanne group, you'd had Rafe before you got pregnant again. And you said to me, dieting is really, really hard because it's really hard to stick to a certain amount of calories when you are awake for like 5 more hours of the day than a normal person because your kids don't sleep.
yeah.
And I remember thinking, oh my God, she's fucking right. Like, how do mums do it? Like, when you're awake from 3 in the morning and then you're awake 4 times in between the night, and you must be hungry all the time.
Yeah, I know. It is, and the thing is, it really is one of those things where you have to try. And do you know what? I am trying now, but I go through patches where I don't because I just think I'm too tired for this. I'm too tired for this shit. I just need to eat. But the thing is, ultimately, from my point of view, I know that eating whatever I want all the time will only result in me being more miserable. I guess there are things you can try and do, but yeah, I mean, other than just riding it out, there's not a lot I can say because you're right. At the moment, my wake up time is between 4:30 and 5:30 every single day, right? Doesn't matter what day it is, every single day. So by the time it cuts to like 10, it's basically lunchtime. But
Yeah.
that's only 11s or whatever it is you want to call it. If you have your breakfast at, half or 5 o'clock in the morning, yeah. And it's just I mean, I must admit, I am more used to it now, but like, all the mums I speak to, they're the same. It's just this constant, and you need to stay awake as well, because you need to stay awake for your baby. You can't just fall asleep on the sofa whenever you fancy it. It is so hard. It is so bloody hard. And the only thing that gets me through it is being motivated to basically not be overweight because I know how bad it makes me feel.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing. However, at the run up to Christmas last year, I just ate and ate because I was just so tired. And you'll go through like patches where they're both sick and you're just like, fuck it, I'm sorry, I need to eat a load. And you know what I mean? And then you'll go through a nice patch and it'll be easy again. But yeah, I'm the same, I didn't understand those challenges either. And I think, again, it's one of those things that people will be so ignorant of, when they are nasty to people who are overweight or the rest of it, blah, blah, blah. And, you've got no idea what's going on. You've got no idea how much sleep that person's getting. You've got no idea how much money that person has to cook up a bloody, they might be skin. And do you know what I mean? I think being a parent is, I'm not being one of those, like, you don't understand unless you're a parent, because I hate people that say that, but I just think that you don't, in a way, because it's a tiredness unlike anything else. Like, I was a nurse, right? I was an NHS nurse, yeah, and we got really heavy, anaesthetics nurse, theatre nurse, ICU, A&E, so really, really heavy cases, big things coming through. I thought I was tired then. Genuinely now, I think if I went back and did that job, it would be like a break compared to what I'm doing, because it might not be like mentally, you don't have to think, how do I even say this? You know what I mean, don't you? It's kind of like, you're not doing anything that's like particularly mentally challenging, other than obviously challenging yourself to not lose your temper when your baby's or your toddler's having yet another temper tantrum. But it's exhausting. It's just constant physical movement all the time and coming up with ideas to, putting out fires left, right, and centre with their mood. And it's you get to the end of the day and you've got nothing left, got absolutely nothing left. That's how I feel. Like half the time I just go to bed at 7.
You are selling this kids thing to me, mate.
I know. And do you know what? No, but do you know what? Like, it is one of those things that you wouldn't do it for anyone else's kids. You do it, of course you do it for your own, but if it was anyone else's kids, you'd be like, hell no. They're the only ones who can get away with it, my two. Anyone else, though, no way.
And do you get to do much yoga with 2 little ones now?
I got to a good space with it with Rafe, and then I had Johan, and at the moment, no, I teach it, and I tend to do a bit actually in the gym. I do, when I go to the gym, it's a bit embarrassing actually, because I always feel like people are always looking at me like, what are you doing? But I just literally put myself in a corner and just do a bit of it at the end of my gym session. My gym sessions are funny though, because I do spend a lot of time just faffing.
That's just lack of structure, but we're going to sort that out. Don't you worry about it.
Yes, please, God, yes. No, but to be honest, the gym now is just like time. It's just a time that I get to myself. So if I faff, I don't really care. It just means that I haven't had to deal with, babies.
I think that the gym is such a positive place for mums to go as well, to have a bit of me time and work on their own goals and do something for themselves. So even
I think it can. I think it can be, but I also think it can't be, because I think that there are people in the gym again who are not nice.
Okay.
And you get it in every single gym. And if you go there and you're not feeling good about yourself, and particularly as well if you're postnatal and you haven't got support and you haven't got someone saying to you, maybe try this instead of this, but say if your tummy muscles aren't back together yet or whatever. So I think it is a really, really positive place, given that you have the right people around you. Because you could go once and then have some complete prick in the weights area looking at you like, what are you doing? And then it just put you off, right?
And this is why it is so important, especially if you are a new mum, to get a program or to have a coach who knows what the fuck they're talking about, okay? Because not only is a postnatal client trying to rebuild their core strength, trying to rebuild their pelvic floor, trying to, get their strength back when they're knackered, when they're, running on empty, but also they're trying to balance their hormones, still recovering after their baby. They're trying to balance lack of sleep and confidence, man. Like, going back in the gym after a baby, I mean, I just see like women in particular, they're nervous. They're nervous to go and train and leave their baby. Is their baby going to be okay? Like, so what the message I want to get from this is, you're saying you've only got 30 minutes. That's fine. I will work with what you've got. You tell me, this is what I've got. This is what I can do. Okay, well, I'm going to give you this program, which is specifically designed to help you gain back your confidence with training in the gym, to help you have an effective workout in the 30 minutes that you've got. And that's where we start. And that's where I think women, postnatal women especially, think they have to kill themselves in the gym or they have to do these stupid plans. But what is realistic? What is going to be okay for you and your baby, and how long you're happy to be away from that newborn baby or however old they are? And let's go from there, because you don't need to change the world in a day.
No, and also like from a financial point of view as well, it's not even like, you could see somebody once a month or something who would give you like a plan, and then re-see them again in a month or whatever and adjust it. No, I know, I agree totally, and I think that's probably a mistake that I made in the past, to just crack on and just do all the same things that I did before. And it's like, you're not the same person, your body's not the same, everything's still, like you said, going back to normal. Like even now, I mean, I'm not the same person now at all. My body is all shriveled.
Don't say that. It's not.
No, it's not. It's nice. It's fine. Whatever. It's a little bit shriveled, but I don't really care, to be honest.
Right. I think it's time we went back to the old school for some tales of Kazza and Lily. And I'm going to start because I will never, ever, ever, ever forget this in my whole life, right?
What is it?
Carol was like one of the fittest girls in our year. Everyone wanted to take Carol on a date, right? And on one Valentine's Day, I remember in chemistry, sat on our stools. And I won't name names, but this boy drops this Valentine's card on her desk, right? And I'm sat next to him like, mate, open it. And she opened it, and on the front was a picture of a train, and it said, I choose you. It was the funniest thing.
What did I do? What did I do with it?
You were like, oh my God, this is the most embarrassing moment of my life. We were like, burn it on the Bunsen burner. Honestly, it was so funny. It was hilarious.
So my memories are more obviously our holiday.
Yeah.
I have some very vague, I must admit my memory is very patchy on that holiday, and I don't know why.
Yeah, the less said about that, the better.
I don't even remember like our room. I don't remember anything. All I remember is the pool, the place where we had those like drinks each night, that weird club that we went to.
The absolute chavs we made friends with.
Yes. And I also remember getting stuck at the airport on the way home, but I don't remember.
10.5-hour delay. On the way home,
so cold and waiting
with for chicken and cheese sandwiches, and we were sleeping on the airport floor with our towels.
Do you not remember as well? Stupidly, we'd come home in our holiday gear. We were freezing as well.
Wasn't Hugh waiting for us at Bristol Airport as well?
Yes. Hello. Oh God.
Does Dad?
I had memories of that. I had memories of Greece. Yeah, like the musical.
Yeah. What about our fake IDs, Kaz?
Oh God, no. Oh my God.
I think I've still got mine effort. Somewhere.
All of that effort to get into
fusion. But we used to get in, and what I used to love, it used to drive the girls in the year above us absolutely nuts. Do you remember? They always used to dob us in, and we'd be like, got an ID, mate. Now get me a Bacardi freezer.
I remember those IDs though. I remember like the reason why we thought they looked really legit is because they had that like holographic bit on it, didn't they? They were so bad. I won't even mention how we got them, because you know as well as I do how we got those and who approved them.
They were bright orange as well, and I'd gone through my red hair stage, and I had a red hair with one of those like lily flower clips in. Said I was going to South Devon College. I'm like, mate, I'm up the road in year 7. I don't know what you're talking about. With my KCC badge on. Oh, the good times.
I also remember once using my sister's ID, and then they told me I was banned for life. And then
and then they begged you to come in the week after.
No, and then when I did actually turn 18, it was okay. But yeah, no, I remember fake IDs as well.
And I remember we always used to buy like bottles of Lambrini and Lambrusco from the garage with our fake IDs, neck them on the key, and then go to Fusion.
Oh God.
Oh, good times.
Yeah, this is the thing though. I think this is what I don't want for my two sons.
You don't want them to turn out like us.
No, I mean, I feel like I want a little bit. I feel like a lot of that was down to the fact that we were bored and there wasn't a huge amount. In fact, there was nothing to do. There was nothing to do in the evening.
Yeah.
And I think, when you're a teenager, you need someplace that isn't bloody, what was it called again? I won't mention it.
The social club.
No, that one.
Soch. Going up the Soch tonight. £1.20 for a Malibu and Coke.
Oh God, Malibu and Coke! Oh my God!
Hey mate, don't knock it. It's still my tickle.
Oh God!
The good old days.
I wish I'd taken more. I don't wish, because I know that, but I do sometimes wish I had social media back then, because I would love to have more of a documents of that time. Yeah. I don't even have photos, because every photo would have been printed out, right?
Yeah.
So, I think about that holiday that me and you took, and everything was printed out. I remember I put all my photos up on my wall, and then I think when I left for uni, I think my parents redecorated the room, and the whole place just got burnt down.
It probably needed to be fair. It probably needed to. Oh, the good old days. And then at school, when you guys used to sit under the stairs in the sixth form centre. Do you remember? You used to walk in, used to sit under the stairs there.
Though, I was probably the most socially awkward person under those stairs. I found sixth form so stressful. Yeah, I mean, I left, didn't I? I left after 1 year.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it at all, really. I found it really, really hard to, I didn't really know what to do with myself. It was it was kind of like you can do what you want, but also you can't, I
found the whole, cool kids, not cool kids thing really hard in sixth form. I've, that little area in the common room by the vending machines, I just remember.
Yeah, and also having a decision as well over what to wear. That was really, really stressful when all you care about is looking bloody cool.
Yeah.
And, I used to agonize over stuff to wear to school. It was ridiculous, really. I remember I used to, wash the same thing, every single night, so I could wear it every single day because, the one nice thing.
It's crazy. Yeah. Craziness. But at the same time, some very good memories. Oh, Greece.
Good old Greece.
Good old Greece.
Literally no part in Greece. I remember you got a proper part. Do you remember?
Patty Simcox.
You got Patty
the really Simcox, annoying one that no one liked. Oh, if the shoe fits.
I thought you were brilliant.
Hey,
I think I had one line, but that was enjoyable. That was a good one to do. Like that. And did you do the burst in school strike?
Yes. Oh my goodness me! Do you not remember, Kaz, the burst in school strike? Right, but it was when we're in the thick of actually everyone was falling out with each other, and me and Helen hated each other, and in the play we hated each other. I think it's probably my finest acting moment of us two screaming at each other across the stage, having an argument, because I was the headmistress, wasn't I?
I don't remember. I thought she was a headmistress. No, she was a teacher. But isn't it funny to think though that James?
Yeah.
James.
Yeah.
James. Is my husband.
There you go. See. Yeah, the vicar. Oh my God, yeah, the vicar. And I remember at the end, sixth form had to do an impression of Mrs. Roberts to say thank you. And I remember coming down the stairs with a cane. Well. Do you remember?
Oh my God.
Oh, everyone listening to this podcast right now is going to be like, what the fuck are they on about?
Yeah.
Oh, good times. And I think it's really funny. I'm really close with Kim now because she was kind of in between the popular group and the not, or the middle popular. You know how you have the populars, then you have the OKs, and then you have the other groups that have their own little friendship groups and don't really bother with the popular lot. She was in the middle, And and I remember when we went to go and see Destiny's Child.
Oh yes.
Do you remember?
I remember that too. But again, I don't remember much.
I just remember her outfit. She won't mind us talking on her about this.
What was it? I don't remember.
Oh my God, Kaz. How old were we? We were like 15 or something.
17. No, 17.
Our parents had let us go to London on our own, right? To go and see Destiny's Child. Kim gets off the train in a belt, a Miss 60 belt, pretty much, skirt, and these pink boots. They were wedge boots, right? They were pink. They come all the way up her leg, and they just had a fur top.
Oh,
and I remember we're walking through Earl's Court, and everyone's like, woo, woo. And I was like, we're going to get stabbed, we're going to get stabbed, we're going to get stabbed. And we were staying in that hostel.
Yes, I do remember that bit. But the thing about, again, Kim won't mind me saying this, she was just so badass, wasn't she? Kim didn't give a shit, and I love that. And I still love that about her.
Yeah,
she just
still doesn't. She owns it. She owns it.
Yeah.
I love
that's the thing. You can wear shit like that if you own it, and she bloody owned it. Whereas all of us are behind her going, oh, you know, am I showing too much boob?
That was definitely not an issue for me back in the day. Right. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and reminiscing with me and telling us all about yoga. We've got to plug your classes because they are amazing. Definitely. And I have done a few yogas, but I'm not just saying this. Yours is definitely my fave. I love it. So tell us, how can people get involved in your classes and what your social media is, etc.?
So I teach, I've just realised just here, just there behind me, that's all Rafe. Can you see those pictures?
Oh, bless
Rafe. Sorry. So my page is The Yoga Mama, and at the moment I'm teaching Tuesday nights online, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. via Zoom. If you are on Leanne's LWL membership, whilst you're on Challenge, I think you get it for free. Yeah, basically you can join with me every Tuesday, which is nice. But if you don't, it's only a £5, so it's not very much either. But yeah, no, it's a really nice class. Normally I teach face-to-face, but this way it's great because everyone can join. And if you're a mum, I teach mum and baby yoga on Tuesday mornings as well. And I've just started a new course, but the next one will be starting mid-March.
Amazing. And you also do like baby mama meetups, don't you?
Yes. Oh God, man. Yeah. This is how bad I am. This is my mum brain. I just forget everything. Yes, I do. Mum and baby meetups. So my next sort of project is, being the area that we're in, being that everybody lives all over the place, and there are so many mums who have had babies in lockdown and have not found their community yet because of lockdown. I've created mum baby meetups basically, so they're going to become more regular. At the moment there's still sort of like trials once every now and again, but eventually I want to make it a monthly thing, so monthly meetups for mums and babies. Again, that's all on my website, and the next meetup is on Tuesday. I don't know when this will be going out though, so I don't know whether they'll hear it before, but it's on Tuesday.
Cool. Amazing. I
visit my page and everything's on there. And if you want to meet other like-minded, lovely, supportive women in your area, sound like a dating site now, don't I?
Yeah.
In your area. But yeah, no, it's really nice. And it's a really, really nice community of really nice mums who've all going through it as well.
You know, I love building a community.
I do.
Thank you so much, Kaz.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening. Next week, I have a female entrepreneur coming on to do the podcast with me. She's like a female empowerment coach. So I'll give you some more information about that very soon. See you soon.